The Chi-Lites are an American R&B, soul vocal quartet from Chicago, Illinois, United States. Forming at Chicago's Hyde Park High School in 1959, the group's original lineup consisted of singers Robert Lester, Eugene Record, Creadel Jones, Clarence Johnson, Burt Bowen, Reed and Marshall Thompson. The Chi-Lites' greatest fame came during the late 1960s through the early 1970s, scoring 11 top 10 R&B hits from 1969 until 1974. The group also charted 21 songs in the Billboard Hot 100 pop chart, and had chart hits in Australia, the United Kingdom, Ireland, and Canada, as well as in the U.S. history. Forming an early career, the original members were lead singer Eugene Record, Robert, Squirrel, Lester, Clarence Johnson, Burt Bowen, and Reed of the Chanteurs. The group was formed at Hyde Park Academy High School, where majority of the members attended in Chicago in 1959. The group performed at their high school, senior Varieties talent show. Soon after, they released a single entitled, "You've Got a Great Love," written by Johnson. Bowen left the group and was replaced by Sollie McElroy of the Flamingos, who was soon replaced by Marshall Thompson of the Desideros. In 1960, Reed died and Thompson brought in Creadel Jones, who was a member of the Desideros, to replace him. In early 1964, the group changed their name to the Chi-Lites and released a song entitled, "I'm So Jealous," with Record on lead. Noting that the name Chi-Lites was already in use and wanting to honor their hometown, they changed their name to Marshall and the Chi-Lites in 1964. Under their new name they recorded 4 songs entitled, "Pretty Girl," written by Record, who also was on lead, "Love Bandit," written by Jones with Thompson on lead, "Price of Love," and "Baby It's Time." Clarence Johnson left He Group later that year, and their name was subsequently shortened to the Chi-Lites. Eugene Record was the musical group's sole songwriter and lead singer. Record never collaborated with members outside his singing group. In 1968, the group met with record producer Carl Davis and signed a contract with Brunswick Records out of Chicago. The Chi-Lites with members Record, Thompson, Lester and Jones recorded their first charting song, "Give It Away," written by Davis and Record. The single became a top 10 Billboard R&B hit, spending 9 weeks on the chart and peaking at number 10 on March 15, 1969. 1971 to 1979, their major hits came in 1971 and 1972, "Have You Seen Her" and "Oh Girl," the latter becoming a #1 single on the Billboard Hot 100 on May 27, 1972. Each sold over 1 million copies and was awarded a gold disc by the RIAA. Other transatlantic chart hits followed, although their output became more fragmented as the group's personnel came and went. Bass singer Jones left in 1973, and was replaced in quick succession by Stanley Anderson, Willie Kinsey, and then Doc Roberson. Shortly thereafter, Eugene Record left, and David Scott and Danny Johnson entered. More personnel changes ensued, when Johnson was replaced by Vandy Hampton in 1977. The Chi-Lites cut some tracks for the Invasion label in 1979, which appeared on an obscure album for the Excello label. 1980 to 1999. In 1980, Thompson, Jones, and Lester re-formed the group. Lester was the lead singer. The new group continued using the Chi-Lites' established name. Creadel Jones left for a second time in 1982, and the group would remain a trio. In 1983, the group released the critically acclaimed Bottoms Up album and achieved notable club and R&B chart success with the title track and "Changing for You." Released on Lark Records, the album was also released in the UK on the R&B label under the distribution wing of PRT. "Changing for You" album version was released in the UK as a 12-inch single, which became popular in London clubs including Flicks in Dartford and the Goldmine in Canvey Island. "Changing for You" also remained on the Keister Weekender playlist for 2 years. "Changing for You" and the title track, "Bottoms Up," were heavily played and promoted by UK jazz funk soul DJ Robbie Vincent. An edited version of "Changing for You" entered the UK charts and reached number 61. Record left again in 1988, and new lead Frank Reed joined to replace him. Singer Anthony Raynard Watson replaced Reed later that year, and the duty of lead vocals would alternate between Reed and Watson over the course of the next decade. In 1997, while returning home from a concert in Pennsylvania, the Chi-Lites were involved in a serious car crash which resulted in both Reed and Thompson's wife Constance being ejected from the vehicle. Constance died from her injuries and Reed had to have a metal plate inserted in his back. "Hold On to Your Dreams" was included on the Help Wanted album in Constance's honor. Reed was subsequently replaced once again by Watson until Watson's permanent departure in 2002. On December 13, 1999, BMI named the Chi-Lites, "Oh Girl," number 36 of the top 100 songs of the century. 1999 present. The Chi-Lites had a big year in 2004. Their early 70s hit, "Are You My Woman," was remade by Beyoncé Knowles as the across-the-board hit and Grammy-winning, "Crazy in Love." And their 1974 song, "That's How Long," was used as the backdrop for one of the cuts on Jay-Z's Black Album. Also, the group reunited with former lead Eugene Record for the March 2004 PBS Soul Music special, and they sounded great. Record died in July 2005 after a long bout with cancer. Marshall Thompson and Squirrel Lester, along with more recent addition Frank Reed and the group's first female member, wife Tara Thompson, continued the Chi-Lites tradition, recording sporadically and touring unceasingly over the last 2 decades with other classic soul groups such as the Stylistics and Ray, Goodman and Brown. In 2005 the group released the single "Mother Love", and followed the next with a Christmas song. Lester died in January 2010, leaving Thompson the sole remaining founding member of the group. Lester was replaced by Fred Simon. Then, in February 2014, Reed died after an illness. The Chi-Lites were among hundreds of artists whose material was reportedly destroyed in the 2008 Universal fire. As of 2020, Thompson is continuing the Chi-Lites' legacy as the last surviving member. On June 17, 2020, Hollywood Walk of Fame announced their class of 2021 to receive stars on Hollywood Boulevard, and the Chi-Lites were named as one of the honorees. Honors the group was inducted into the Rhythm and Blues Foundation in 2000 and Record appeared with the group on stage to perform and accept the award. The group was inducted into the Vocal Group Hall of Fame in 2005, and were honored with an induction into the R&B Music Hall of Fame on August 17, 2013, at the Wet Gin Auditorium in Cleveland. On September 30, 2021 the Chi-Lites received the 2702 star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame by Hollywood Chamber of Commerce and the City of Los Angeles. The award presenters were Sirius XM radio personality Jeff Fox from New York and Jimmy Walker, best known for his role as JJ on Good Times. Joining Marshall Thompson was the current group of wife Tara Thompson, Fred Simon, Warren Tipton and Mac Miller. Former original Chi-Lites, now deceased, Eugene Record, Robert "Squirrel" Lester, and Creadel Jones will also be remembered.